if you don't even believe in me. Yeah.
Back in the O, straight from the 8. I'm walking with God, I don't need a drink. The devil be talking, I don't entertain. I'm walking in faith, I'm sowing my seed. I did it in faith, I gave it to God, and he made it great.
Hey guys, welcome back, and let's just jump right into it. I don't want to waste your guys' time. We're going to start off by using these moisturizing gel pads, which are my absolute favorite. Y'all know I love these. What's new? I feel like I raved about them all 2023, and I love the way they just sit perfectly and moisturize underneath those under eyes. So we're going to be taking some Kiara sensitive skin tape, and I do like to take at least like an inch thick of a piece to 2 inches and rip it nice in half, and I use the clean side underneath my client's under eyes. I don't like to take like the fluffy or the tear side. I don't know. I like the cleanness of it. It's easier. It sits a lot better. So we have to go in and adjust. I love always going in and adjusting my client's inner corner or outer corners because I really want those natural lashes to sit perfectly on the tape. So take your time with this. I always go in and check. And as you can see here, I'm even removing the tape to really get into that outer corner a lot easier. So we're kind of scooting it a little bit more, getting that perfect angle. And as you guys can see here, how much easier those inner corner lashes sit perfectly on that gel pad and on our tape. I'm not gonna go ahead and compromise anything when I'm trying to go ahead and isolate. I got a little bit of a gap, so I just took another piece of tape and we're gonna cover that one right back up. Okay, let's talk mapping. Every single client that I do, every single set is customly tailored to their eye shape. So this is pretty much how I get those sets to look exactly proportioned to their eye facial structure, is just like this. So I do take a fine tip Sharpie and I have them look at me and I see drop points in the eye. I definitely have to make a full in-depth tutorial on like my whole consultations. If you would like me to do that, please let me know in the comment section down below. But this is pretty much like a rough draft of how I customize my sets. I have her look at me. I see where those points are. Where do those lashes look like they lie and fall perfectly? And so for her, it just seems like it's only like 3 to 4 cross-section points. So I did follow those points and then take my Sharpie and just make a nice little diagonal line and point them outwards. I don't do straight lines. I do follow the eye shape so that I'm sticking to that as I'm lashing on my client's natural eye, because again, I want to enhance her eye shape. I don't want to take away. So I'm going to start off by showing you guys my first layer, which is going to be our top layer. So we're doing 12, jumping up to 14, and then jumping up to 16. Kind of like a basic cat eye, nothing crazy. I did go really simple with this eye shape because she is a simple person. She wants a lot of wispiness. She wants a slight cat eye, but she doesn't want it to be so dramatic. When the first time I did her eye shape, she loved full, big, dramatic lashes. That's just not her style anymore. And that's really cool about people who come to you for so long, is that the styles change. All right, so we're going to talk about wide versus narrow fans. So for our base layer, we are going to be doing closed fans. Our second layer, we're going to be doing narrow fans, so the fans to the right. And on our bottom layer, we're going to be doing super wide fans at the bottom layer, which is the fan on the left-hand side. This is initially what we're trying to go for, okay? We want a dark eyelinered effect lash line. We want those points to stick out, but we don't want it to be so dramatic, okay? Taking our lash primer, only because she did come in with a little bit of leftover makeup on her eyes. And what does makeup have in it? Oil. So I don't really prime unless the client is oily, or I feel like she had a long day, her eyelids were oily, because primer has alcohol in it. And what does alcohol do? Get rid of oil. So that's the main reason why I'm going to go ahead and prime today. I'm taking 2 cotton swabs to go ahead and get rid of any excess so it's not too much. And then I like to take it and really get in there and get a vigorous amount of the primer onto my client's lashes. Again, it's because she did have a little bit of makeup buildup and some lash glue. So I really want to make sure I'm removing any oils, dirt, or debris that has been left over, and then fan them completely dry. You want to do this for about like 1 to 2 minutes with our Kiara Sky lash fan. She's so cute. Taking our Pro Lash Glue from Kiara Sky. Hands down, this has been my favorite. The clear glue is cool, but this is the one that I keep repurchasing, and I'm repurchasing. Going in with our Fiber Grip 90-degree angled tweezers, And this is why I love a good 90-degree angle tweezer. As you can see, no matter what angle I need my wrist angle to be, my hand is perfectly straight. going in with the Fiber Grip 45-degree angle isolation tweezer, and it's the long one from Kiara Sky. I love this. I love a 45-degree angle tweezer when it comes to isolating, but right now I love the way this sits. I love that it's long, and I love that it doesn't open too much. I feel like I have a little bit more control. All right, weaving out our top layer, which means we're looking for those top layer lashes only, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a closed fan on the top layer. So if we're in the 14th section, I need a 14 closed fan. And here's a little example of a reference picture at the top in the corner. We're going the farthest left lash, okay? Closed fan on that top layer. And that's all we're gonna be doing right now, fishing through and seeing that top layer where it lies. And we're also making sure we have our direction and our flow. As you can see, I did a close-up shot. You can see how skinny that base is, but it has a little bit of flareness to the top. That is a super closed fan. That's just the way that I call them. There's so many other definitions of fans like this, spikes, super closed fans, super narrow fans. I don't know. I just call it a really good closed fan, okay? That's my definition. That's the reference I'm using. So again, just going in at that top layer, and I'm kind of skipping. So even though there might be some top layer lashes still next to each other that I probably could have put a spike on or a closed fan, whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna skip a couple of lashes. I want there to be somewhat of a gap, because again, going back to that reference picture, you can see that there is a little bit of gap peeping through. You can see that those closed fans really stand out, and I want that. So I want to create this like window effect. So that's why you kind of want to skip over a little bit. You never want to put fans or closed fans or spikes or whatever you want to call them right next to each other, because you won't create movement and you won't see them stand out. They'll kind of get lost within your set. So always make sure that you're going in. If you need to remove a closed fan that looks like it's just a little too close next to each other, or if it's not sitting correctly, go ahead and remove it and replace it, especially when it comes to direction. Your top layer or your closed fans or spikes or whatever you want to call them again are super important. They have to sit perfectly. So I will go back in sometimes and remove like 1 or 2 or maybe even 3, and then having to replace it and making sure that my direction is perfectly. Direction meaning, as you can see, this fan right here is pointing towards the nose, and I even took it off because it's not sitting correctly. This is something that I still do. Sets still take me about 2.5 hours. I've been in the game for 5 years now. My lash anniversary is coming up actually next week. It's so crazy, but I will still go in and remove some lashes if they're not sitting correctly. So it will take me a little bit of time, but that's fine. My clients appreciate my work, and they appreciate the fact that I accentuate their natural eye shape. So again, making sure the direction's good, making sure that they're sitting perfectly. If you're in the inner corner, your lashes need to be facing the angle towards the nose. In the middle section, 90 degree. Towards that outer corner, need to be facing slightly towards the ear or even towards the outer portion of the brow. So moving on to our middle layer, we are grabbing that top layer with some NextCare Sensitive Skin Tape. I did remove a smaller piece this time, and I'm really getting in there. And as you can see in that middle layer, that narrow fan. Do you see how it kind of opens up towards the tip now, but it's got that super snatched base? That's what we're looking for. So on your middle layer, you're doing those narrow fans, and we're doing 14s. Now, I want to mention something that I didn't mention in the beginning when it came to the mapping, is that I am going to go 1 millimeter shorter at our bottom layer. So right now I'm in the 16, so I did 16. I jumped down to 14 for our narrow fans, and in that final layer, I'm going to do 13 wide fans, okay? All the mapping, all the links, everything will be linked in the description down below, but I just kind of wanted to go ahead and verify that with you guys just in case you guys get lost. So peeling back that layer, and I even use my tweezer to go ahead and peel back. That's how I always get my spikes or my top layer not to come off. Also, if you have really good placement and you're wrapping your fan right, you shouldn't really have that problem when you're removing the tape. Again, if you guys would like any in-depth video on anything that I mentioned in this video, leave it down below. We're still in that middle layer, you guys, using our super narrow fans, and you're starting to see the set come to life, okay? And I'm also placing those lashes at the direction that I need to. Even though my big ass head gets in the way of this one, I'm sorry, but you can see how snatched that base is. how really narrow those fans are. I love using narrow fans and wide fans when it comes to textured sets, because playing with different diameters, different density, different shapes is what creates different type of uniformity. If you really want it to stand out, if you really want to create wispiness without actually doing a lot of work, just mix your fans. Mix different textures. You'll really create some really unique sets. Moving along to our bottom layer, we're gonna go ahead and apply our wide fans now. 13 since we're in the outer corner, and here in our reference picture we're using the fan to the left of us. As you guys can see, as I'm lashing, it looks like the bases are a little bit more snatched, a little bit more narrow. They're really not, it's just the angle, but I did try to get you guys in as close as I can. And I will go ahead and remove one of these lashes, and I kept that on here because I want you guys to see. Even as I'm doing my set, I will go ahead and remove a lash if it's too far out, or if I didn't get too close to the skin without touching it. You never want to clog a pore with your lashes, but I'm really getting in there. I also go at the bottom when I'm applying my extension onto my natural lash. That is just the best way that I found to do the bottom layer. It's the easiest way to get the best bond when you go underneath the natural lash instead of on top or the side. So that's pretty much it. We're going ahead and fill up our set. We are fanning dry with this beautiful Kiara Sky lash fan. She's so cute, so aesthetic. And before I move on to any other section, I go ahead and make sure that I'm fanning in between my sets. We are using some super bonder, putting this on our gel or our micro swab, and patting onto our lashes. I did use a clean micro swab with no product on it, just to kind of seep down and catch any of that extra product that falls through. And then I go in again and just making sure that I'm getting in each and every crevice and getting every single natural lash. Make sure that you are fanning dry for at least a minute before you go in and brush, especially if you're doing fans, because super bonder will close your fans. Also, if you see any lashes that just don't need to be there, especially in the outer corner, sometimes I just don't go as far as people think they need to go in the outer corner, because the outer corner lashes, when you're going ahead and applying a fan, they could kind of touch the outer corner, and you don't want it to touch. It looks really, really funny. You can tell that the lash just doesn't belong. And then when the client opens her eyes, it kind of tickles her outer corner. So I will go ahead and remove a lash if necessary. Take off that gel pad, check your work, and making sure everything looks good. And here are the final results. Super dark lash line. It's wispy, but it's not too dramatic. It definitely has some different features. It has texture, and it just really aligns with her natural eye shape. I really hope that you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video.